Okay, here we are for round number 1. We are definitely going to take the play with our reasonably aggressive Mardu kind of black-white or white-based Warriors deck. So let's say yes and take the play. Looking at this first hand, it is a keeper. We don't have black to be able to play our Chief of the Edge, but we do have a 2-drop. We have a removal spell, and we have a later game play. So this is absolutely a hand that we can get on board with. Opponent is thinking about their mulligan decisions. So we'll see what they decide. Opponent has decided to keep their 7. We'll play a Plains and pass the turn. We want to lead on Plains because it gives us the option to play Chief or Seeker. And we're almost certainly playing Seeker on 2 no matter what, but gives us that option at least. Opponent plays Scoured Barrens. Draw a second Mountain. We'll play a Seeker the way and pass the turn back to opponent. What's nice about Seeker the way is that it is very hard to block. People are unlikely to block if they don't need to. He will block with a 0-5, of course, so I'm not going to attack into him. Or I guess I could attack and just see. I'm not going to attack into him. I think it's very, like, 99.9% that they're going to block here. I would rather have my creature untapped. So we'll just pass here with 3 mana up. We'll be aggressively trying to trade this so that we can get it back with the Timely Horde Mate. Yeah, if they're playing a Morph. Okay, we'll play our 4th land. I'm willing to attack here, see what they've got, see what they want to do. They do block. I'm not going to bring low their Parapet. I'm going to bring low their Morph though. And we'll gain 3 life that way. So we got rid of their Woolly Loxon, which is a good one to get rid of. That card's very good. Up to 4 mana. And they play a long shot squad. Okay. We'll go for an attack again. See what they want to do. This makes the same block. I'm going to play Take Up Arms here just to gain us the life. I'm not thinking that we're likely going to get his long shot squad. I think he'll outlast here. Our opponent will outlast here. An opponent does choose to outlast and plays a Disowned Ancestor. Okay, we draw Rush of Battle, which is good but not great yet. It is a sorcery, so we're unable to do anything with it right now. I'm just going to attack in here, and we'll likely just play out the Horde Mate, even though it's not going to get any value. And they don't block with their Disowned Ancestor, which is good. And we'll just play out the Horde Mate. Looking for a black source, of which we have 6. Getting to play Chief of the Edge and Rush of Battle on the same turn would be a pretty big swing. See what opponent's interested in doing here. To note, they missed their Archer's Parapet trigger. They had the option to make me lose a life and missed that. Looks like we've got some more outlasting happening. See if they decide to outlast their Disowned Ancestor. They don't. That's the perfect draw, so we are going to play Chief of the Edge here, give our creatures +1/+0. And we will also Rush of Battle them, as this is a good a time as any to rush them. Our creatures, we're going to gain more than 20 life and get in for, so we're going to get in for 12, 18, we're getting in for 30 damage here, so we'll gain 30 life. They'll take 12, lose 2 of their creatures. Overall, a pretty excellent attack for us. And so we're at 49 now. Okay, Dune Blast is a good one. That's gonna make it so that we probably lose this game, even though we were up to 49. Wow, what a blowout there. We do have a little bit of time to find some more action. We did find a Just Guy student, so we'll play that out. Yeah, geez. We still definitely have some cards that will win us the game. Zergo is an insane draw for us. Butcher the Horde is going to be very good. Mardu Charm is potentially going to give us some extra creatures and a Just Guy student trigger. Lots of things that we can do here to stay in the game. Looks like opponent's tapping 6 mana. Is going to play their 4/4 lifelink Abzan Guide. Abzan Falconer is definitely a way that we can get back into this game. That's going to create a big creature eventually, but opponent's going to be able to gain quite a bit of life with the Abzan Guide. Opponent taps 2 mana. No, untapping. Not sure what their plan is now. We're going to be looking to get this Abzan Falconer bigger. We want to keep playing out our lands because we do have the high sentinels and want to be able to activate it right away. They're going to Outlast. And play a Meandering Tower Shell. Okay, Meandering Tower Shell is kind of an interesting one. It is a 5 mana, 5/9 with Island Walk, but it only hits every second turn, so it kind of is a 2.5/9. It doesn't really get there that quickly. Yeah, we're gonna have to take 4 here. Luckily, we've got quite a bit of life to work with. Play Scoured Barrens. We're gonna Outlast here. Play our Scoured Barrens, and we'll pass the turn. So again, we still have some very good draws remaining. Oof. Dead Drop's very good. That's going to put us in pretty bad shape. We're going to take 10 here, with the Meandering Tower Shell exiling itself when it attacks. And it'll be coming back in next draw step. Draw Butcher. Butcher's a good one. But unfortunately something that we're likely just going to have to trade with an Abzan Guide. And life totals are now 20 to 18. Luckily we gained an extra 30 life this game to give us a chance to still be in the game, even though we are quite behind. Opponent tapping 6 mana. Oh, untapping, not sure what their plan is now. Play a morph. Okay. And an alabaster cairn. Okay, so they're out of gas now, but we are also in pretty bad shape. Watcher of the Roost is fine, but unexciting. We'll cast it. We'll get attacked here for 10, but potentially quite a bit more because the morph will be able to unflip. I'm not going to block the morph. I don't think I'm going to block at all this turn. They'll be able to unflip their morph and whatever it is. Probably another Abzan Guide. Yeah. Alright, we're down to 8. And in a lot of trouble going into what is probably our last turn. Okay. So we'll concede the game here. We don't have any outs. Really unfortunate there that we got Dune Blasted. I thought we were in very, very good shape. We went for a really big attack and seemed like we were in a spot that was going to win us that game, but we did not. So looking at our sideboard, we don't really have anything that we want to bring in. Bring Low is good, but we still have Burn Away, which will do the same type of thing. They don't have any erase targets that we saw. Still not interested in Valley Dashers. So I think we just keep it the same, and we'll submit our deck for game number 2. I still think our deck has a very good matchup against theirs if we get out to another reasonably aggressive start, or if they don't have Parapet on turn 2 like they did last time. I think we have a pretty good chance to get ahead. This is a white-black, only hand no red, but we have some good cards, and no 2-drop for the Timely Horde Mate, but we can get there. We are going to keep this hand. It's certainly good enough to keep, even if it's not great. We'll lead on Scoured Barrens. They've decided to mulligan to 6 cards, and we'll keep their 6-card hand. Scoured Barrens will go up to 21 and pass the turn. They play a Forest. We've got another Morph, which is nice. We'll play a Plains, pass. We'll lead with Watcher on turn 3 here, face down, and we'll be able to flip it up to gain some life. Helm Smasher is good if we can find our red source. Finding a red source here would be quite excellent. It gives us pretty powerful turn 4 and 5 plays. Opponent taps 2 mana. Another Parapet, sure. Luckily we have a flyer. We're going to show them Timely Horde Mate. This card they've already seen. And we'll attack for 2 here. And we'll play this face down. We don't have any Horde Mate value yet, and we also can't get through on the ground anyways, so there's not really a good reason to play it out. Yeah, debilitating injury works. Fifth land here. We'll attack in for 2. Again, we don't gain anything by playing our horde mates, so I'm going to leave them in my hand, hopefully finding a 2-drop at some point that we can use to get back. We're just looking for a red source. That's going to be our ticket to victory here. Another Scoured Barons we'll play. Go to 14 and pass the turn. Note that they played a No Bad Outpost. Given what we've seen of their deck, it's very likely that's just a white-black land for them. And that they have now found a white source. They've played their 6th land. And play Alabaster Kieran. Okay, so now they've shut down my offense. For now. Find a land. Deciding whether to play Butcher or Zergo. I'm just going to play Zergo. It's a pretty powerful card and will force them to do some blocking pretty quickly. We're only going to attack with Zergo here. And we'll see if they're interested in blocking or if they'll just take 7. They do block. We'll go down to 20, and our Zergo will become an 8-3. See if opponent has Dune Blast again. It's now their turn 7. 3 cards in hand. Dune Blast does not hit us as hard this time, so less likely to kind of be game ending. Attack with the Alabaster Kieran. And we draw High Sentinels. At this point, we are just going to attack with the Zergo again. See what they do. Again, I'm unlikely to keep committing things to the board if we know they have Dune Blast and they're not doing anything. They have 2 cards in hand, which could be nothing, but our Zergo is kind of presenting enough of a clock that I don't think we need to change anything yet. And once it's time to add more to the board, once they Dune Blast, we can reload quickly. We have 4 good spells in our hand. Now's the time, they say, which is fine by us. Dune Blast was good there, but not insane. We draw our 8th land, so we can play 2 creatures this turn. I'm going to play one of the Timely Horde Mates and Butcher. We'll save High Sentinels for one more turn. And we'll get this Butcher on the battlefield. I'm not going to give it haste at the cost of a Timely Horde Mate. I'll be pretty willing and interested in doing that if we draw a 2-drop at some point. They have their own Chief of the Scales. They're down to 1 card in hand. We draw Feat of Resistance. Just deciding what we want to do here. Whether we're interested in playing the High Sentinels out and potentially just putting a counter on the Timely Horde Mate to make it a better attacker, although it does trade with everything right now. I think we will play the High Sentinels out. And we'll attack with our 2 creatures. This forces him now to block with the Heir of the Wilds if he wants to, if our opponent wants to trade with the Timely Horde Mate. Nope. Decides to scoop up this game. Okay, let's go to sideboards for game number 3. Again, we like our deck quite a bit, and I think we're going to keep keep it the same for this final game. We were successfully able to navigate around that Dune Blast. It wasn't super obvious that he had it there. By habit I say he, and it's something I'm really working on, to not say he always when I'm talking to about opponent, because we don't know whether our opponent, how our opponent identifies, or whether opponent's a male or female, or gender non-conforming, and so something that I'm going to try to work on kind of moving forward is saying they, or saying opponent, as opposed to genderizing our opponent, especially saying he always. But we don't know whether opponent, or it wasn't totally obvious that opponent had Dune Blast, but given they had multiple cards in hand and weren't doing anything, it seemed likely that they had Dune Blast, or seemed plausible at least. Looking at this hand, we see 3 mountains, 1 spell that we can cast, and a burn away that's a few cards away. We would like a white source. I think I'm going to have to mulligan this one. I don't think we can keep this kind of 1 color hand. It's not wild. If this was some sort of 4 or 5 drop, then I could think about it more, but we're going to take a mulligan here. This hand has 2 of our colors, and a morph this time, so we will keep. White is our main color, and we have a lot of white sources. We have 9. It's very likely we'll be able to find a white source at some point in the first couple of turns, so let's keep this hand. Right on time, we see it, so we're in pretty good shape here. We'll lead on Falconer, playing War Behemoth plus Outlasting on 4. We want to lead Plains or Swamp first, so that we're able to play a Chief if we draw it, which we don't. We'll play a Scoured Barrens here. Since we have no 2-drop, we'll go up to 21. Opponent will be able to attack us for 2 damage this turn if they're interested. They play their own Scoured Barrens. We're tied at 21 all. They do put a counter on their Disowned Ancestor. It's now a 1/6. Chief will come in for 2 damage. And we draw Burn Away, which is a good one. We'll play our 3rd color here and play our Abzan Falconer. We're not blocking if they attack with the Chief of the Scale. It's a free attack for them, but there are many tricks that get us here, and our Abzan Falconer is pretty important to us, so we will just take the 2 damage. Opponent plays their 4th land and plays an Archer's Parapet and outlasts their Disowned Ancestor. We find Butcher of the Horde. Does Butcher change anything? I think it does. I think it means that we are going to just play out Butcher. And we won't sacrifice our Falconer. We'll just have a 5 damage attacker. Unfortunately for us, their Disowned Ancestor being a 2/7 means that Zergo is not likely to get in many hits. We might have to combo it with a Burn Away to be able to get past it. Debilitating Injury happens. We now have a 3/2. If that's the best they can do, is just make our Butcher less powerful, that's not bad for us. They're going to play 2 Debilitating Injuries on it. Okay. We will happily take a 2-for-1 here, and we'll block now that they have no way around it. And now we can play our Zergo Helm Smasher and get in for 7. Opponent will likely feel that they need to buff with their Disowned Ancestor, which they do. We're in the position now where we can burn away their Chief when they go to blocks, and their creature will not be big enough to rumble, which is great for us. We also have Mardu Charm that can do the same job. Opponent takes 7. We're not interested in adding any more creatures to the board. I'm going to give my creature +1/+1. We have Mardu Charm here. Currently, opponent can't cast Doom Blast if they have it, and they would need to draw a land plus Doom Blast at some point. An option here would be to end of turn Mardu Charm them, see if we can take a Doom Blast from them. They have not played their 7th land. We'll see what they do in terms of attacking. Just attacking with the Chief, we'll take 2 damage here. And see what their second main phase looks like. Choose to go for the Outlast. That seems reasonable and fine. And goes for a Savage Punch. Okay, now we have to think about what we want to do here. Their creature does get +2/+2, so it becomes an 11. We can kill it. We can also just kill their Chief, or we can create warriors. We've got a lot of options here. Likely, I think we're just going to take the damage, or take the kill here just as it is. Just deciding how we want to play out this Mardu Charm. If we Mardu Charm for creatures, we would be able to attack in because we could burn away Parapet. We could get in for 5 damage in the air, which is reasonable. I think it's more likely that we just want to kill something. Maybe we do just want to kill this. So it'll have 7 damage marked on it, needing 4 more. Okay. Yeah, that happens. Okay, Ancestor down. Alright, we'll get in for 3 here. And we'll cast this face down. And then pass the turn. Again, we want to leave something back in case they do have Doom Blast. We'll go to 11. We do have lethal on board. And we'll see what happens. We no longer have lethal, but we do have a very good attack ahead of us. Opponent attacks for 2. We'll take that. We'll flip this up, go back up to 11. And feet should win us the game here. I think if opponent had any removal spells, they would have used them. So we'll feet. And get in for 6 damage. And we've won the match. Okay, that's round number 1 against a grindy Abzan list, and we'll see you again soon for round number 2.